July 2, 1937. A speck of coral in the Central Pacific called Howland Island. In the radio room of the Coast Guard cutter Itasca, a woman's voice cuts through the static. So loud, so clear, that men run out on deck and scan the sky. She says, "We must be on you, but cannot see you. The plane is close. Maybe minutes away." The ship can hear her perfectly. But she cannot hear them. The voice belongs to Amelia Earhart, the most By 1937, Amelia Earhart had already made history. The first woman to fly the Atlantic solo. Now she was attempting her biggest flight yet, around the world near the equator, in a twin-engine Lockheed Electra. By late June, she and her navigator, Fred Noonan, had flown 22,000 miles. Only the Pacific remained. And the next leg was the nightmare. 2,556 miles from New Guinea, to Howland Island, a strip of sand 2 miles long. After 20 hours in the air, they would have to hit a target smaller than the shadow of a cloud. Their safety net was one ship. The Itasca, waiting at Howland to guide them in. Through the night, the Itasca caught fragments of Earhart's voice, growing stronger hour by hour. Proof the Electra was closing in. But something was wrong. Every time the ship answered, Earhart replied as if she'd heard nothing. Because she hadn't. At 7:42 a.m., the transmission that froze the radio room, "We must be on you but cannot see you, but gas is running low. Have been unable to reach you by radio. We are flying at 1,000 feet. Her signal strength was at maximum. She should have been overhead. The sky above Howland was empty. The crew tried everything. She asked them to take a bearing on her voice. But her transmissions were too short for the direction finder to lock on. She asked the ship to transmit on 7,500 kilocycles. And when they did, she heard it. But her own equipment couldn't take a bearing on a frequency that high. 2 working radios, unable to complete a single connection. At 8:43 a.m. came the last confirmed message. Her voice, one operator noted, sounding near breaking, "We are on the line 157-337, running on line north and south. A navigation line through Howland." But where on it was she? Then the static closed over. What followed was the largest air and sea search in history to that date. The battleship Colorado, the carrier Lexington and its planes, thousands of sailors sweeping 250,000 square miles of ocean. Then something strange happened. Radio operators around the Pacific reported faint signals that might be the Electra. Many were hoaxes or misheard noise. But some were judged credible enough to redirect the search southeast, along that 157-337 line. On July 9, Navy floatplanes swept an uninhabited atoll called Gardner Island, right on the line. The pilots noted signs of recent habitation. But they'd been told the island had once been settled, saw no aircraft, and flew on. After more than 2 weeks, the search was called off. In January 1939, Amelia Earhart was declared dead. The mainstream view is brutally simple: the fuel ran out, and the Electra went into the sea near Howland, sinking into water more than 3 miles deep. It fits the fuel math and the final transmissions. The problem is proving it. The seafloor there is a lightless mountain range, and expedition after expedition has found nothing. But there's a second hypothesis. Gardner Island, today called Nikomaroro, sits on that 157-337 line. And in 1940, a British officer there found a partial human skeleton beneath a tree, near a sextant box, and part of a woman's shoe. The bones were shipped to Fiji, where a doctor named Hoodless declared them a man's. Then they were lost. In 2018, forensic anthropologist Richard Jantz reanalyzed Hoodless' measurements with modern methods and concluded they were more similar to Earhart than to 99% of a reference population. The group Tyre has spent decades recovering artifacts there, a 1930s American freckle cream jar, aircraft-style aluminum, plexiglass matching the Electra's windows. Compelling. But skeptics push back hard. The island was colonized in 1938. A freighter wrecked on its reef in 1929. Every artifact could belong to someone else. And without the bones, it stays a hypothesis. Plausible. You may have heard Earhart was captured by the Japanese, or lived out her days in New Jersey under the name Irene Bolam. Neither survives contact with evidence. The famous photograph said to show her in Japanese custody appears in a travel book published in 1935. 2 years before she disappeared. Irene Bolam was a real, well-documented woman who sued over the claim. And no credible record, American or Japanese, supports capture. Strip away the myths, and you're In early 2024, a company called Deep Sea Vision released a sonar image from the seafloor near Howland. A smudge shaped uncannily like an aircraft. Headlines flashed worldwide. When they returned for a closer pass, it was a rock formation. But the teams keep going back. In 2025, an expedition backed by Purdue, the university that helped fund Earhart's Electra, set out for Nikomaroro to investigate a strange object in satellite images of its lagoon. Here's the thing about the ocean, it kept the Titanic hidden for 73 years. Until, suddenly, it didn't. The tools finding lost wrecks today didn't exist a decade ago. And somewhere under the Pacific, a twin-engine Electra is waiting. Amelia Earhart told us where she was. 157-337. Somewhere on that line, after almost 90 years,